We're back.
All
Yeah,
right.
we're back, man. It's good. Like I can keep you on the phone all damn day, bro. It's just
I know, right?
just
It's
to
just,
connect.
it's just like us being an Inglewood rapping.
Exactly. It's funny because when I was before the phone call, I was telling myself like, how do I, how do I ask my band questions? And certain things I just want to talk about. But then again, I'm in my head. I'm like, damn, I ain't spoken to my band in such a long time. I just want to talk about other things other than
Yeah.
you being a track director at SC, I was thinking about your pop, thinking about your grandma, thinking about us as youngsters, thinking about Smitty, how we set it off, and then just the timeline that's been happening consistently all in between. I think the beauty of it is like being over here, and I've had an opportunity to watch a lot of young athletes transition from SC to become professional athletes. I've watched Anna Cockrell. Um, and like and a lot of the athletes, they see me here at the meeting here in Zurich. I'm, behind the camera, probably interviewing somebody, just kind of hanging out. And I'm looking at them and I'm so familiar with them because I'm watching their exploits online that
Right.
when I meet them, I'm like, I'm forgetting that they don't know who the hell I am or what I've accomplished. So they like, who this old dude, all this gray in his face, you know. Because I'm literally I'm fanning out. Now they're running internationally. And those same thoughts go through my head when we were, you transition from as a collegiate runner to now you're world class. You're traveling around different places around the world, people looking at you differently. I got a question. Are you a celebrity coach in the LA area? Do people recognize you, walk up on you on the street?
No, they don't recognize me. But I do get a lot of love, you
Uh-huh.
know, and just because I've been in this demographic for so long,
So
whether it's
long.
Inglewood, whether it's the Valley, whether it's Taft High School, whether it's USC as a student athlete, assistant coach, I mean, there's a lot of relationships.
All the
Just
high
in
schools,
high
man.
school, yeah,
Yeah.
my high school level, man.
How's T Hand, man? How's Seaway? How
Yeah,
those guys,
yeah,
man?
he ain't doing good.
Tyrone.
Yeah, everybody doing good, man. Tyrone reached out to me the other day, congratulating me. TM's doing great. His son just got an offer from USC. He's a freshman. Well, he just got an offer from USC. Um, and then everybody's just doing good, man. Everybody's doing good.
My lifeline to LA is always D Knight. I'm always my little bro, man. I'm always
Yeah,
checking in with him, and he seems to have be tapped in. He's coaching too. I mean, everybody. I guess we've learned so much from the sport, what we gotten out of the sport, that we just give back. Even myself, I'm helping out a young athlete here in Switzerland. He's a medical doctor, and he's transitioned back, getting it back into the running. And I was telling him, like, dude, first and foremost, these young cats, the guys your competition now, they at a whole nother level.
yeah,
And so you have to be definitely satisfied to your personal accomplishment and your training and your commitment to the sport, and be satisfied with that. But I was just sitting here. I wouldn't. I grabbed my medal cue, man.
There you
Uh,
go. There
yeah,
you go.
grabbed it.
There
I
you
grabbed it.
go.
And I remember your grandmother house. You kept your medals at your grandmama's house, if I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken. And
Yes.
somebody went in there and took the medals, man. How was
Yeah.
that when that happened, man?
That was a tough experience because and it wasn't so much the medals, Kev. It was what my grandmother went through with during that home invasion.
And they, yeah, man.
That was just tough, man. And that particular week, I was doing some speaking engagements, and I
It was
normally
a home
keep them in.
invasion.
It was a home invasion,
I didn't
right?
even know that, Q. It was.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you really don't be talking about stuff like that.
Yeah, it was actually a home invasion. Home invasion at about 10 at night or 9 o'clock at night. And they had just came home from whatever they were doing. I think it was doing Christmas time, finishing up some shopping or whatever. And they pulled in the garage and they were held up at gunpoint and brought in the house and they were tied up
Check it.
and
Yeah.
things of that nature. So and my grandmother actually because they startled her in the garage, she was kind of like screaming, taken back.
Hmm.
One of the guys hit her in the eye. So it was, yeah, it was it was a man, I felt so bad for that situation, that what she had to go through, and my sister and my grandfather had to go through over those that home invasion
Just
and
being at the
the
at that's the neighborhood, man. That's the block. I mean,
yeah, it just yeah, man, it was just a tough time, man. So that was in '93. The medals were replaced, which I was thankful, but just my family had to go through that ordeal is what I
yeah.
regret.
Um, you mentioned something. I wanted this came to mind. I remember '93 World Championships. You fell in the shower.
Yeah,
You fell in this. People don't realize that back in '93 before your race,
yeah.
you almost had like some
Never
sort of
told the story.
paralysis, bro. You had paralysis in the shower. You couldn't get out. I remember trying to help you out the
I,
shower. And
it's,
how were you able to
it's
recover from that, man?
Kev, it's funny you say I was just thinking about this yesterday, and I've never told this story publicly. Like you're the first person to ever mention it. I've never told it publicly. So much was going on
Your shoe
around
exploded.
the shoot, right? But they didn't know before the shoot, I was literally paralyzed on the floor in the shower because I fell out the shower, hit the back of the
Yeah, yeah.
back, and it turned my legs one way and my body the other way and knocked the wind out of me. And a lot of people don't know that I could barely walk to the line the day before. So, but I never been one with excuses and I never wanted people to say, well, I was trying to take this away from
The fellow
Michael
teammates.
Michael won and then Butch got second. And I'm never was the type of person that would make excuses and try to take away a win or a victory from somebody, especially when it's just great competition. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Uh, but I always just kept those kind of things to myself. And yeah, I think that was the most world championships and falling out of the shower and still being in pain and trying to run, and slightly paralyzed, 2 days before was rough. I know you were my roommate. I was calling you because I couldn't move.
I remember.
And I think I had maybe like 20 minutes. I think because you had the music up, and I think when the music went down or something, you heard me trying to call you. It's kind of a blur, but you heard me. You were like, "What's going?" And you couldn't get in because I had the door locked.
Yeah,
Remember?
yeah.
Get in because I was in the shower. I had the door locked, and I remember you
I'm
and
trying to figure out what
John.
just happened. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I
You
couldn't really
and
pick you up like I want to because you was like you were in
oh,
pain.
I'm in
Oh, it
pain,
was
and
crazy. And yeah,
I think you
God.
called Nike John Capriati, and you called Nike. Remember John Capriati? So yeah, that was a tough world championship, man. And being paralyzed, it was a very very scary moment.
Yo, man, yes, yes. It's so funny you mentioned. I was just looking at because it's crazy. When did because I remember we both running with Nike. They had the big campaign for the Air Max 2. I never forget. They had
Yep.
the Air Max 2 campaign going on. This shoe here. And I remember they had the two of us. They had this campaign. I had found that one of the print ads that had you on one of the
Yep.
shoes as well, because I guess if you look close enough,
Yep.
you see the my image and William
Yep. Yep.
Lewis.
Right in there. Right in
And,
there. Yep.
and it's crazy because a lot of folks didn't know that it was some print ads and stuff like that of the
Yeah.
two of us during the time. And
Uh,
so now these sneakerheads in 2025, and the internet now, you can go and dig up a lot of this information if it's provided. And I personally been able to do a bit of that, and that's not been the biggest shocker to me. Going, wow, this is crazy. It's like people don't even know how
Ooh, right.
the transition, I guess you would say, of even having the opportunity to be supported
Yeah.
like with a company like Nike or an Adidas or an Asics. And the whole
I
language
think
of
that was
marketing language changed over the years.
it was rare for us because that at that particular time, Kev, we got embraced. What we did in the Olympics, what you did, win a gold medal, breaking Evan Moses' record in the final, me winning two gold medals. It
An
was
Olympic
epic.
record.
Yeah, yeah. But we were embraced, man, and I think we hit it at the right time. I think we were very fresh for track and
Dude,
field.
I was green, man. I just be honest with you. I'm gonna just tell you, how it is in our sport. as a walk on at UCLA, I was grateful to be on the team, right? So my transition then to becoming to run with Danny Harris, my sophomore year, and run up, second behind him at national championships, to have opportunity to go to Europe and run it internationally. And I'm not really looking at track and field as this career at all. It's really a roller coaster ride because it's like, damn, I remember I was here. Now I'm moving on and I'm dealing with all these curves, these peaks, these valleys, and it's exciting. You know,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
I remember in '93 because folks was like, "Well, how come you didn't train with John and this, that, and the other?" I said, "Well, a lot was happening. Injuries, and then of course even the transition from. I remember when we got home. A lot of folks failed to realize when we got home, I guess, from the Olympics. They were filming High Learning. Was it High Learning in LA? So I
Mhm.
think Games came back, stars of the game, and they're filming a inner city Cali movie at
Yeah,
UCLA and at SC throughout the city. We
yeah,
just shut down the Olympic Games. We and I, I'm 26 at the time, 22,
yeah.
and I'm like, why we can't get no love to legitimize the movie? I mean, that was in my head, not knowing that Hollywood
Right,
is Hollywood.
right.
They didn't plan this shit in advance, and they was like, "Well, you got to go to a casting call and all that." I'm like, "What the hell? I know about a casting call. I'm fresh home. I'm just go to give. I just want to plug and play."
They got a whole production plan
Whole
that they
production plan. What,
buy.
what, what year did they film Space Jam? If
That's a
to your
good
knowledge,
one.
was that
Michael Jordan, that's
what
a good one.
commercial that they did what year you did a commercial what year with Nike?
I
With the
I did a
crazy
commercial
Hollywood
in
director dude.
1993. The same ad that like
That was
what you're
93, huh?
that
Okay.
was 93 with myself, Charles Barkley, and Sergey Buka.
And Booker, who was in that? Oh,
Yeah, we had
three different.
three different yeah commercials. But
Wow.
the theme was all the same. That was in '93.
Yeah. It's so funny because like I mentioned earlier, folks are buying retro shoes. And so I see these conferences. I'm like, well, damn. One of the ideas I've been thinking or thought about was we need, as former athletes, we need to do something like uh, somebody had mentioned, I think I was talking to Tanya Hughes, an athletic con. I think she saw something like that with some NIL folks, friends of hers. And it came up, I had mentioned, I was like, that'd be dope if we all just kind of hung out and did meet and greets and
Yeah.
highlight. I mean, 'cause I think that's something that the LA 28 needs to do because I'm definitely, I'm gonna be, Lord bless, I'm still on this planet. I'm definitely gonna be involved in LA 28, even if I've got to be there running around in the neighborhood. Just, you
Oh,
know, I'll be like
you
the old ice cream truck, like Big Worm and Fridays and shit. I get me a truck and I drive through the hood. I get it blasted out.
Hey,
Hey,
no, but
sign up
like,
and sign
you know,
autographs to the truck.
well, you came to my office, man. So, I'm gonna have we're gonna have some get-togethers on that patio deck I have up top.
Oh
You
man,
know,
yeah.
right
Oh,
there.
oh man, I got another question for you. I got
Yeah,
another question for you. And
yeah,
this just me and you talking.
yep,
Okay. Uh Fred Curley, man. Does
yeah.
does Fred train in Fred does Fred train in that area around SC, or does he train in Florida, or does he train in Texas? I'm curious.
So the first year, Fred trains at USC.
Okay.
Rye called me and said that Fred wanted to train. He wanted to come and be a part of our camp. I've always been a Fred Curley fan.
Yeah,
Just
y'all quarter milers, man.
yeah, we put him on, and we've always been good. Number one, I've always, I got love for all quarter milers as an old head and a young head, so I can appreciate them. So we just looking for a coach and a good environment. So I provide a good environment for him at USC. I had a young coach named John Bolton, and that's Fred's coach. That's Fred's coach. He coaches Fred. I'm just at the top of the bowl, looking down, making sure that
Just
he has
facility, just make sure that he got a safe
yeah,
place to land
facility
on,
for him.
right?
Yeah, silly with everything, constant. And that first year, Fred was going back and forth, and Miami or Florida because it was a new transition for him with his kids and things of that nature. But
Hmm.
Fred, he trained in LA.
That's cool. I'm happy for
And
I'm happy for
great,
Fred. Fred is one of my favorite.
great human being,
Fred is a
and
personality. I love his personality. I know he's quirky,
he's a
he's
great,
odd, but he's Fred, and he's a good
he's a
dude.
great human being.
He's one of the first, one of the only when he came to Zurich, when he came to Zurich, he literally I hooked up with him. I was like, "Yo, we gotta go have lunch." So we go out by the lake, sat there for a few hours, hung out, took pictures, and my stepkids, my stepson, one of my stepson, who's a little runner now, he has a I'm plugging him into all these American athletes, right? This is
Yeah,
Fred, this and that, and he's a fan of everybody. But now he didn't. You saw him maybe 2 years
you,
ago.
yeah, you guys came out to the office.
He's taller than you.
Whoa,
He's taller than
really?
you, man. Yeah.
Wow,
Shut up.
wow.
Shut up. I'm looking at him every day. He's getting mad at me because I'm always taking pictures of him with my phone. I'm taking pictures of
Uh,
him. I'm like, dude, you don't realize that I'm watching you just literally grow in front of
wow,
my eyes. And you just I
wow.
mean, I got a picture of him. I can't wait to see Grant Holloway and Noah
Mm,
Lyles. Well, I got pictures of them at the meeting, and he's standing next to Noah doing the Naruto stuff with the Dragon Ball Z stuff, right? And I videotaped that. Then I got a picture of him standing next to Grant Holloway. He's coming up to Grant. His head is coming up to Grant's chest.
mm.
Now he's tall as Grant.
What?
Yes.
Wow,
So
how old is he now?
he's 16. I think he'd be 17 this year in December.
Yeah.
In December he'd be 17. And I'm literally watching him. It's spooky. And it's so funny just having this perspective because I've always been on the other side of the perspective, being the kid growing up as opposed to being the adult watching the kid growing up. Same thing with D Night, little daughter. She's on American
Mm-hmm.
Idol doing her
American
one of them show, one
Idol.
of them, yeah. She's
American, it was
no,
American
yo,
Idol.
she's at the crypto set at the arena singing at the
Blowing.
yeah, sing it. And I'm like, I literally held that child in my arm. It's a trip when you know with babies, man. When you held baby
Yeah,
your
yeah.
friends' kids as children, now they young adults, and you go, wow, where'd the time go? Where did the
You
time,
know, yeah, you and I, we have, we have athletic talent. She has a gift,
man? The girl
right?
she speak English, she speaks Japanese. I know she speaks Japanese and English, and she speak maybe the Hawaiian dialect thing, that they yeah, she's official, you know.
Yeah.
I'm bugging out, man. But yo, just watching. What do you think about the young kid Quincy Wilson
Oh,
out of
love
Blaze?
him. Love Quincy Wilson.
You put that
Run
name
for
Q back on the map, right?
Thank you. Look, both of them, Quincy Wilson and Quincy Hall.
Oh, I forgot about the hurler.
Yeah,
Yes, I know
yeah.
he's a hurler. Come on now.
Used to be a hurdler, now he's supposed to be a gold medalist. So they both represented
They
Q.
make the Q look good, right?
Yeah, but Quincy Hall, tremendous talent,
Right.
just tough competitor. So a lot of respect for him. Met him, had a chance to met him met him before, but had a chance to meet and greet with him.
Did you see him in Paris? The young kid, the
Yeah,
young. Well, that's right, because you out there with the relay team,
yeah.
right?
We were at the training center. We were at the training center every day without waking up.
How is it literally you sitting here watching this high school youngster run around with all these knuckleheads and then, because you know how these older quarter miles can be in they shit basically. You know how
Yeah,
track field
yeah,
guys are.
yeah,
That's like history. Everybody you got to walk around with your own set of attitude on your shoulders. You know,
yeah,
um, did they give him love? It seemed like Norwood. It seemed
yeah.
it's like they gave him
They,
love.
they gave him love because he was a rarity, being so young.
Oh my God!
Just
And everybody just probably marveled at him. The fact, yeah, because we all knew
it
what we
just
were doing when we was 15 to
yeah,
16 years old.
Yeah, I think everybody just kind of big brother them, big sister him, and everybody to handle their business, do a job, but they all at the same time, had their moments with him and just conversation, whether it was long, whether it was small,
Mhm.
just try to make him feel comfortable in that
Yeah,
space out there. Obviously phenomenal, phenomenal athlete, phenomenal kid, phenomenal personality. When I say personality, I just mean like character.
yeah.
Uh,
I mean, yo. I
like
could
character.
imagine being
Yeah.
in the Olympic Games at that age.
Well, I was more impressed because he made the team, but I was more impressed with I think
He had a
later on
long season. People don't realize
before
how many
that.
races he even
Yeah,
had.
I think he ran like 44.2. He ran something like 44.2 later on. I think after the trials. So just once in a lifetime talent, 44.2, and not only that, but he was doing it as a sophomore.
Sophomore, but think about indoor high
That's
school
2 years of high school.
high school outdoor season.
Hmm.
USA senior national.
Hmm. No,
Oh my goodness. Just
phenomenal. Phenomenal engine. That's just somebody with a big engine. I know his coach, so I know Joe take good care of him, and then they have a plan, and they've been doing great. But like I said, long season, and
oh my
uh,
goodness.
but just a phenomenal talent.
That's amazing. I mean, I just love the fact that I get to watch this, and I'm always gonna feel as an Olympian, it just just a runner. I'm a part of everybody's life or career.
Yeah,
And the beauty of it is watching the children of fellow competitors or just my peers, their kids are now transitioning, becoming, you know, involved in the sport,
right.
great athletes, great human beings for the most part, and watching them just do their thing. So,
Yeah.
um, the future's bright for the sport. Always been bright for the sport.
I mean, look at what Michael's doing right now with Glam Slam.
Exactly.
It's just and I just think anytime when you understand our sport and you
Mhm.
know where our sport has come from and what our sport is trying to do.
You want to go out your way to make something happen.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there in our sport that are trying to make some things happen, but there are a lot of barriers and a lot of people who aren't willing to open doors for us.
Dude, I see it here. I'm in Switzerland, right? Of course, you got all the national governing bodies here, located here. You have European athletics is down the road. Things are in Geneva, up train ride away. And, majority of the meets are here. Obviously, the well-paying meets are here. And I've had the opportunity to, fly locally, like I would do in the States. Like, just say if I was in California, just kind of bouncing on the West Coast. Here, I've been, being able to go to Brussels. Of course, here I'm in Zurich, the Zurich meet, go to the Paris meet, and I'm looking at the opportunities that exist, but you did mention the barriers that are there. And I think the barriers are there because traditionally the sport has been dealing a certain way.
Right.
And from a particular perspective, no one thought they would have an opportunity to open doors for themselves. So I'm sitting here going, okay, this is a code that needs to be cracked. That can be
Yeah.
cracked. Um,
Hmm.
we just need more involvement. That's why it was so important for me to stay connected with Matete, with Sam.
Yep.
Of course, our Nigerian brothers, we're always seeing them, T-Pep was from Sierra Leone. We were always connected with each other, but we never really do business with each other.
I think because of the water, right? But now you're across the water, so you're different for you
Yeah.
now. But
Yep.
when we were training, we lived here, they lived there, and
And then
once we
they would come to the States and be,
yeah, yeah, once we left the waters, and once we were on this side of the water versus that side of the water, there was no really communication,
right.
So I just think that, but with some great relationship, we have some great relationships, right?
Yeah.
Great relationship with our international brothers and international competitors in track and field, the sport of track and field. But I think that what happens is I've just got on the board, man, with anybody that's trying to do something for our sport, anybody that's trying to make anybody that's trying to continue.
That's why I can't knock none of the NIL kids that run track, man, because that's a perspective of the sport we never had an opportunity to do and be involved in. And believe you me, I tried hook or crook to try to do my set of run. I mean, I literally used to go to schools in LA, you know, just so I can go do speaking engagements.
Yeah.
And they didn't
Hmm.
understand, you got to go to the principal. I'm like, well, I'll go to my cousin. She was a school teacher. And I was like, yo, I'll just come. And my sister Kimmy, she's a school teacher. I said, but just invite me to your class and I'll just enjoy myself running around with the kids with the medal and doing that way,
They don't realize how impactful that is for these young kids to see your gold medals and to hear your voice. You know, you're trying to do something really nice for the school system, that particular school. You know, for those kids who when the last time they seen a world record holder an Olympic gold medal? When the
The
last
crazy
time
piece is I done went
the
to
gold?
school with their parents or somebody that they're already closely connected with,
Yeah.
and I know how I felt literally when I had an opportunity to meet Carl Lewis.
Hmm.
I mean, just total fanned out. So you can't even speak. I'm like, damn, well, you don't know what to say. And then you
Yeah.
realize he's just a regular dude who gonna crack on you. He gonna crack
Yeah.
on you. He gonna
Yeah.
have your back. Um, I just literally love how um, we've been able to stay involved in the sport, you know.
Yeah.
And I realized like say for instance, Coach Lang and those guys, literally,
Hmm.
we all literally pretty much started from the same position. CIF kids, out of high schools out of LA, going to major universities, finding ourselves, becoming Olympians, made whatever sacrifices we did along the way, and then transition from there. And that story constantly plays in my head because I think about like Coach Lang. Coach Lang have known me since I was in the 10th grade.
Yeah. Yeah.
Went from
He was over at Fremont.
at Fremont, yeah, at Fremont. Where I met him. Uh, and then I think everybody else I met probably at the university, but knowing Coach Lang since before I even did anything in the sport, I should just be like, damn, how does his athlete seem to beat me? Basically because Coach Lang was a track coach and I
A
had a
real
football coach. I had a football coach as my coach obviously did a great job.
great job. Hey, great. That's how it was though.
That's
Remember,
how it was. Yeah.
there was no specialized coaching. There was no go to other coaches and
It
all
was
these things.
gym. It was 6 period gym, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. It was
And the
okay.
football coach, he was a football coach, history teacher, and he coached football, and then he transitioned over to track.
My coach, he was my homeroom teacher. So I had to see him every
There
day.
you go. There
Coach
you go.
Washington was my home every day.
A
The good, the
basketball
bad,
coach,
the
my
ugly.
homeroom. Yeah.
Every day. So I got cracked on. I got snapped on, but it was always a character building situation for me because he knew what I needed.
Hmm.
And the beauty of it is we're still around and we're able to share these stories and have these conversations and talk about big up these individuals, let them know that we really appreciate them. Because
Yeah.
so many people in the sport that I just got mad love for who
Yeah.
weren't coaches, who were officials.
Hmm.
And I remember I
Hmm.
tell a story about Mr. Pacheco. He was a official with the USATF for years, and he used to officiate all the meets from high school to college, and he literally saw my transition as well. He was also, I think, I'm not sure he was a customs agent, but he worked at the airport. When I got back from Barcelona in '92, he literally was working at the
Mm.
airport, and he kind of ushered me and my everybody, my mom, not yeah, my mom and everybody. We ushered us all through LAX to get out of customs, man. He
Wow.
saw me, found out I was good, and it was mad love, mad
Yeah.
love.
Oh yeah.
Mr.
Oh yeah.
Pacheco, he's official, and he was just it's kind of like different individuals in LA that we know and being involved in the sport that they're just recognizable from generation to generation.
Mhm.
Coach E is like that to me as
I'll tell
well.
you a funny story. This is uh same family tree. Mr. Pacheco is Mr. Hanson, though. He was my middle school teacher, and he took me to my first track meet, which was a Jesse Owens track meet. But what I found out later, at that middle school, Steve Lewis also went to that middle school also.
Oh,
So
really?
who had two gold medals in the 400, 88 and 92. But me and Steve were not there at the same time. But
Right.
we both went to the same middle school. And how did I find out? He brought me a
An old program from a track meet or something?
oh, he had records of all the kids that attended the middle school.
Mm.
And when he took them to certain track meets, he had records of the 100, 75, and 50 meter. And me and Steve was right there. And when he showed me, I couldn't believe it. Right? It's just a
Names right
small,
there, right
you
there.
know, it's a small world, with our relationship with Steve and growing up with Steve and me
Hmm.
in high school, you at UCLA. So I just thought that was another way the world connected, that connected us, that was really a small world,
A small world. It really, the world gets really small, super
idea.
small. I mean, even I like music, hip hop, art, and all that cool shit. When I was at UCLA, um, it's so this the dynamics between the two campuses and the individuals that goes. But I remember John Singleton used to be on the campus, on UCLA's campus all the
Mm,
time,
mm,
and he had a great relationship with Tim Reed Jr., who worked for Epic, and I think Tim's in the music industry, been involved in a long time. And I met John through those guys because Tim was rapping at the time, back in
mm.
the mid '80s, yeah, mid '80s, late '80s, and so the LA movie industry sports thing merges and it blurs the line every now and then. And I remember that. So even now, I'm still trying to keep that connection or wanting to keep that connection with the entertainment part and the track and field part.
Yeah,
I don't think that we do enough with one another in popular culture because
right.
we're very popular. It's so
Yeah,
crazy because we were doing a lot of stuff as track guys that a lot of other guys in sports weren't doing. We were doing a lot of international traveling.
yeah, yeah.
Period. Just getting on the bird, flying out, going places like, damn, this is cool. You know,
No, you're right. I think the NBA has just become that international, global organization,
Mhm.
right? We always was that. That's who we were.
Always.
Global traveling professional with track and field.
Ambassadors of the sport.
Yeah.
Ambassadors of the sport all the time, all the time. And I didn't realize how popular that actually was. I mean, recently here in
Think about it. Well, think about it. In '92, the big talk was the Dream Team. The
yeah,
Dream Team becoming global, right? They became global because we kept getting our butts whooped in
yeah.
track. Excuse me, in basketball. So they
Hmm.
put the big team
They
together.
put the guy, yeah, put Magic and those cats together. I remember that. That was, yeah, I wish, well, it is what it is. Just watching it take place is amazing though. Just watching the movement, how it's transitioned, how the sports itself has grown globally, and it's so crazy the fact that this technology.
Mm.
Do you because you remember when coaches were getting suspended and fined for tweeting athletes' names and shit like that? Do you remember that? I mean,
Yeah,
that was scandalous
yeah,
in this day
yeah,
and age.
yeah, yeah,
Back then.
yeah,
Be on Twitter and saying something about a college recruit.
yeah,
Now we're talking NIL now.
yeah.
We're talking folks got YouTube channels.
Man. We talking adult life, right? We talking adult like kids, no longer kids.
No, they're
Man,
not. They're not. They're not. This I mean, there's so much information out there, it's ridiculous.
they're getting
It,
paid, they gotta pay taxes, right?
It's so
So
much
you really,
information you gotta kind of unplug yourself from the stuff or you get caught up in it. Every now and then I let my phone die. I let the phone die and the
right?
battery's dead just to say it's on the charger. It's doing its thing. Um, but I'm glad that we got to do this more often.
Yeah, for
More
sure.
often.
I'm here, man, for sure, man.
You know.
And it's always good to catch up with you, man. We always have a whole lot of a whole lot of memories.
A lot of memory. I mean, matter of fact, this is the crazy piece is I'm sure you remember most stuff than I do at this point in time because there's a lot of stories and stuff that I don't even. Yeah.
Like I remember before Rye broke the world record, right? Excuse me, I remember before
Yo,
Carson broke.
When Rye ran in Oregon, when he ran the 47:02 in the rain,
Yep, yep.
I was with Sharifa.
Mhm.
I was in Danville. Danville was at Kentucky. I was in Danville, Kentucky. We were doing the maximum velocity speed training camp, her and Lisa at the Center College. So they always had a little section, little suites. We all hung out, watched the big screen TV because it's always that June. You got NBA playoffs going on. You got NCAA meets happening. And so that weekend is really crazy packed with stuff on television. So we've always one of the things we've always watched the national championship meet. And Rye went out there literally when he ran the 47:02. I was like, oh my God, you
Right.
know, crazy, you know.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because he I said, how not the fact great for one of the greatest 400-meter hurlers that done it, but the fact he got the chance to transition between SC and UCLA. I mean,
Yeah.
he